Nigel Farage, you're the father of Brexit, one of the best known and most familiar and popular faces on British television, instantly recognized in many other countries as well, including the United States. Your uniquely winning personality, presentation, and common sense candor have brought you close to world leaders and all sorts of major figures in all walks of life. And it's this that compels me to ask you whether you believe, and if you do, why you think we have such a vacuum of good leadership in the Western world at the present time. This dreadfully frustrating and worrying situation is one of the major narratives of our current days.
Well, you're absolutely right. And I think one of the main reasons is this. If you go back, through previous decades and look at leaders that we produced in, let's say, America and the United Kingdom to begin with, you find leaders who, before embarking upon political careers, had done other stuff. They'd been in business. They'd risen up through the ranks of the trade union movement. They'd, in General Eisenhower's case, commanded the D-Day operation. I mean, these were people of real substance who then went into politics later in life thinking that they might be able to give something back. Now, some of them turned out to be good leaders, and some of them turned out to be completely rubbish. But have a look at today's generation of leaders. I mean, Joe Biden has been on Capitol Hill for half a century. I mean, there isn't much life outside of politics and the games of politics. And you look at the sort of prime ministers that we've had in the United Kingdom, nearly all Oxford University, nearly all viewing politics actually as a career as opposed to a calling. And you see, if you go into politics and aim at political leadership, well, there are two types of people that do it. There are those who want to be something, and that means rank, title, position, and respect as they see it among their peers. And then there are those that want to do something. And those that want to do something couldn't give a damn what anybody in the capital cities thinks of them, don't care about criticism from the New York Times or the Guardian or the BBC or CNN. They actually couldn't care less. They can live in the modern world with the abuse that gets heaped on them from all forms of social media. So I think a lot of this is about the motivations of those that lead our countries. And I think that's where we've gone horribly, horribly wrong.
I think that's an excellent point. It's the motivation. And even for those people, I suppose, with motivation, it's the experience base. If they haven't got it, however large they dream, Liz Truss is probably a good example. They're not going to get it right, are they? Because they don't really know what they're doing.
No. I mean, that's right. However, I will say in Liz Truss's case that her instincts, in terms of where she wanted us to go, were right. She was hated by the IMF, the White House, the civil service blob in Westminster, the media. How dare she? Do you know what she wanted to do? She wanted to reduce the size of the state. I mean, goodness gracious me, we can't have that now, can we? She wanted to reduce taxation. Oh, that would never do. Oh, and worse still, she wanted to incentivize ordinary men and women to set up their own businesses and succeed. Well, we couldn't have any of that. And here's the irony. The financial markets crisis that led to her resignation, gilt yields today are higher than they were at the time of Liz Truss's resignation. And I'm listening, I'm waiting for the IMF to say something. No, not a word. So, having real life experience not only equips you to deal with difficult things in life, but there's something else here. It gives you a connection with ordinary people.
Yes.
Rather than a connection with the bubbles that exist inside DC and London, where you only speak to people who nearly always come from the same class, the same school, the same university, the same background, and the same ambitions. And this has happened right across the Western world, where the debates that take place inside the Beltway, for argument's sake, are very different to what ordinary folks care about when the family is sitting around having breakfast talking about what concerns them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's true. If Liz Truss had ever had a job turning around a business that was failing, bringing it to profit, she might have planned to do things a bit differently. She really did set herself up and stood right at the edge of the cliff. And it was pretty easy for all the powers that you mentioned, together with their hedge fund and other friends, to push her off the cliff. But in the big stories, moving